This is the Khmer Times News. My name is Paolo Bonini, and these are your headlines. A man strangles his own children to death due to crippling debts. A mentally ill woman with no name is raped and murdered. And I've got a huge snake and I'm willing to show it to you. But firstly, our headline story. A father has done the unthinkable. A man crippled by debts that consumed his life has murdered his entire family, killing his wife and his 2 children. The horrifying murder case took place in Kandal province, and it was a primary school director that committed these unspeakable acts. District police stated that Mr. Sok Chan, aged 34, was the director of the local Sri Rai Cha primary school. And what Mr. Sok Chan did that night was calm, it was calculated, and it was carried out with ruthless efficiency. During the night, his 2 children had gone to sleep, and it was only he and his wife that sat up in the small hours. And she had absolutely no idea as to what evil lurked in her husband's mind. The husband suddenly stood up and he grasped his wife by the throat and he slowly squeezed the life out of her. She had struggled, but she was no match for his strong arms. When her body fell lifeless to the floor, the teacher then walked over to the bed where his 2 children lay. They were aged just 10 and 12 years old. He placed his hands around the neck of the first child and then the second. Each time their eyes would open and they stared into their father's eyes. The children petrified as all they could see was their father slowly killing them. When he had killed both of his children, the father laid each child either side of the bed, facing upwards. He then went to the floor and picked up his dead wife, and he placed her in between the 2 children. Through the darkness, a deadly silence had fallen upon the small house. The teacher then made his final move. He ran a wire over a beam in the house, he placed his head in a noose, and then he hung himself. The reason for this crime was desperation, as the teacher had run up debts of over $30,000 in gambling, and recently the debt collectors had been calling. He had become depressed and he saw no way out. And for some reason, this educator decided if he was to die, then all were to die. The police have stated they are looking for no other suspects. On our crime desk this week, a homeless lady with nothing is raped and murdered. Violence flares in Sihanoukville as knives and guns increase the body count. And an update on the pair who dumped a child in the bushes with a dead body. There is always something extremely vile about one person taking advantage of another purely because they can. And this case highlights how very cruel some people can be. The story is of a 50-year-old lady who was dealt a very tough hand in the game of life, and her life was quite simply miserable, and her death was equally as pitiful. The lady was 50 years old and she was homeless, and to add to that, she was mentally disabled. She was a person that deserved the support and the charity of others, but one dark night she was savagely beaten and abused by a murderer. Her lifeless body was found dumped in some bushes in Cheng Prey district and were discovered one morning by a local who thought she had come across a package protruding from a bush, but on closer inspection, she was to discover that what she had stumbled upon was, in fact, a crime scene. Police and forensic experts were called, and it was not long until the final chapter in this unfortunate lady's life was to be told. It seems at approximately 9 p.m. the previous night, the mentally ill, homeless lady had met a man. He had sexually assaulted her and severely beaten her until she was dead. It is not known where the actual murder took place due to the lack of blood. It is surmised that the murder was committed elsewhere and the body transported to its final resting place. The final tragedy for this lady who had suffered so much with the indignity of not even being named. Nobody knows who she was or where she came from. She is just another unfortunate who will be buried with no name, with no relatives, and no one at her graveside to shed a single tear. Now to a follow-up story for you. Do you remember these two utterly delightful people? I sincerely hope so, as it was this couple who ran a clinic in Takao province and they killed one of their patients. Now, let me quickly refresh your memories, because what they did is beyond belief. A lady called Nam went to their clinic with her 3-year-old niece, and she was feeling under the weather. An injection was administered by the staff at the clinic, but whatever they injected her with was exceedingly deadly, as Nam collapsed on the floor, and she died right there. The owners of the clinic did not call for assistance. They tried to cover up their crime by waiting until dark and then loading the dead body into a car. After, they took that body to the countryside and dumped it in bushes. But don't forget, the victim had gone to the clinic with her 3-year-old niece. So, what about her? Well, the clinic owners also dumped the small child in the bushes with the dead body. I've read that twice now, and it does not get any less ridiculous. Yes, a 3-year-old child was dumped in the bushes with a dead body in the middle of nowhere in the dead of night. Well, the follow-up to this incredible story is reassuring, for the pair have now been charged with unintentional murder, practicing healthcare without a license, conspiracy to conceal a body, conspiracy to commit torture, and aggravated assault involving victims. Now, that is quite the barrage of legal charges, and it very much reflects the level of outrage this case has received. If I hear any more about this case, I promise I will be sure to let you know. I think that we can all agree on some fundamental universal truths. We all know that health is way more important than wealth. To be loved is the most wonderful thing on earth, and without any doubt, the best movie of all time is Snakes on a Plane, a giddy mix of aeronautical hardware blended with members of the reptile world. I mean, what could be possibly better as a movie combo? And anyone who says they just made that movie because snake and plane rhymes would in fact be absolutely right. Now, I confess I have not seen the movie Snakes on a Plane for 2 reasons. 1, I'm an adult, and 2, I actually do have a life. But there was something jolly similar this week, and it happened right here in the kingdom. It ain't snakes on a plane, though, it's snake in a car. And my God, what a whopper. Someone sent me this photo, and I honestly thought it had been photoshopped and was clearly fake. It looked like just more clickbait on the pile. But no, the photo was real. I even managed to dig up this video of this monster. It is huge and looks very well fed, probably dining on huge Asian rats has given it such girth. But what made me think it was fake, when I saw the photo that is how very shiny it is. It kind of looks like it's made of plastic. But no, it is in fact one huge shiny alive monster. All I can tell you is it was discovered in Sheer Nookville, but as to where it is now is a mystery. But I sincerely hope level heads prevailed and realised that this creature is truly magnificent, and hopefully he was allowed to go on his way unharmed. And finally for this week, the fabulous 60 Road Music Festival in Siem Reap took place. An event packed to the very rafters with some of Cambodia's best bands. I went along to battle through the noise and the booze to find out what this festival was all about. And here we are at 60 Road Studios, and this place truly is absolutely fantastic. It's very rare I cover local events, but on this occasion, just have a look at the lineup. This guy had some of the top bands in the entire country playing, and what the audience got was not just music. There was fine wine, there was beer, and there was cocktails aplenty. It really was a fantabulosa event, and of course the main attraction was of course the bands, and my goodness, they thrashed it out until late in the night. There was a huge range of people there, and I'm telling you this, I'm not making this up. Everyone had a huge smile on their face. It really was a wonderful event. Even their kids were dancing the night away. So if by chance you're in Siem Reap about this time next year, there's only one place to go, and that's head directly down 60 Road towards that music. It's time to have a look ahead and see what the weather has in store for us next week. And here we are at the weather. Now, as always, I show you something from my week just to make the weather a bit more interesting. And here it is. Look at that. It's snow and a snowman. I absolutely adore this. This is an app I download every year and I use, and I've been doing it for 3 years. It's free, so go get it yourself. And it's an advent calendar. And it's just a look back at your childhood days, and you open your little door and see what surprise is behind each and every day as we come towards Christmas. So a bit of Christmas cheer there. Download it. It's absolutely fantastic, and as I say, it's free, so why not? But let's swipe that to the side and get to the weather, and what we've got is totally the expected. We don't have any rain at all. We've got plenty of sunshine. We've got humidity in the mid 60s, and your high temperature is 34 degrees. This has been the Khmer Times News. Please do subscribe and comment and stay up to date with all the breaking news by following us on both Facebook and Telegram. This has been Paolo Bonini, and that was the week that was. I'll see you next weekend for your weekly roundup.